What?
You told me, right, that you're gonna tell me the monster story?
Mons? Oh, that's not in serious note. I simply said.
No way. You have to tell me now. No.
Okay, I'll tell. But I know the story about the gym monsters only. Is it fine?
Monsters in gym? Fine.
Then there were some kind of mysterious people in all gyms. Who are they? What did they want? Nobody knows. Knowing that was not easy too. No one could easily communicate with them. Their world was full of silence, dark and cold. Their identity also remained in the dark.
मैं कौन हूँ?
But their impressions were everywhere. Their likes, staring at battle rope, shouting when deadlift, and nodding the head after the lift. Like this.
Like this?
Yeah, like this. Then purposeless protein shakes, possessive handshakes were some other symptoms.
What about others?
Not everyone was like that. Some of them were more approachable, no ego lift, they had clarity on what they were doing. Then some others, for them exercising was a punishment. January occupants.
Then?
They.
But nobody's there.
You can't see. In fact, no one can. They didn't come after taking the membership.
Were they mad? But why?
I think maybe they couldn't find the value of training.
Are you saying that the monsters found the right values? Then how they got the motivation to train?
Motivation demands a long explanation. It seems like going to rain. Your parents will be looking for you. I will tell you on the way.
I don't trust your promises anymore. I will come. You start now.
Okay. All physical exertion with a not easily reachable target requires motivation. And motivation is dependent on a hormone called dopamine.
What is a hormone?
Hormone means... When I say the word motivation, what are you relating it with? A guy who hiked with a backpack, a girl who practiced in a sandbag, a businessman climbing the stairs of life? We subconsciously relate motivation with reaching goals, hard work, success and social status. It has a reason, at the same time it's not the full picture. If you see, a common factor among all this is physical movement. Why is that? To answer in short, we do move to seek rewards in our daily life. In other words, we can manipulate our environment to facilitate the reward of our interests through movement. So there is no wonder brain circuits for rewards and movement are interconnected. Motivation exists to make us move. That's why the word motivation in modern world always comes in combo. But I'm going to take it out of the gym for a while. Motivation means the drive to finish a difficult task. It's not something a modern social media invention. Its history head back all the way before we started to walk on earth. In our time bracket, think you are now here, approximately 100,000 years before, in African savanna. Evening time, empty stomach, feeling the heat of the hunger, but the food in reserve is enough for the entire band for just 2 days. Now you have to find out some new landscape with enough food source. What drove you to think this way even when you have food in hand already is a brain chemical, the famous dopamine. The molecule which motivates animals to discard the short-term, low-value or peripersonal space pleasures in order to put the physical and mental effort to reap the long-term, distant, high-value rewards. In humans, unlike the other animals, its reach is more than just food, shelter and reproduction. Instead of hanging out with friends today, if you could just think about tomorrow's board exam, higher studies, placement, job, life partner, financial security and whatever is going to happen for the next 40 years, that's because of dopamine. As the growth of the human race faced a rapid incline, it created a competitive pressure among individuals. As a reactive adaptation to enhance the resources, the brain regions which produce and distribute dopamine expanded. A plot twist for human history and the fate of the world. Our spatial and temporal surfaces expanded without boundaries. We spread across continents, gravity, and scales. Einstein and Newton were born. Nobody questioned what was just happening. In fact, we were not willing to do so. Because dopamine brains craved for more. But how long will it go? Somewhere it has to halt, right? That's where it backfired on us. Because we are not in some African savannah anymore. Goals, dreams, chases. Have you ever looked up to this world? Looking up is an intrinsic behavior of high dopamine motivated state. But I didn't refer to that. Have you ever looked up to the world and felt yourself as got stagnant in its fast forward mode? Have you ever wondered why some easy reaches for some hands are somewhere in the sky for you? Failures may chase, may live around lies, after a loss, being broken, at the search of identity, or at the 9 to 5 job cycle. In loneliness and frustration, if you try to figure out the way to come out, and if your intuition told you to look up, just don't look up. Eagles are there, in hunger.
Do the impossible! Motivate people, energize people, make them driven, make them passionate.
I don't stop, I don't chill, I'm either asleep or at work.
You should be a monster.
Motivational speeches, self-development books, webinar courses that reveal the success formulas, motivational quotes of social media, underdog achiever heroes. Along with that is the way we promote physical training.
दर्द से बड़ा कोई मोटिवेशन नहीं होता. कोई मोटिवेशन नहीं होता.
Come on everyone! ऐसे करते हैं motivate!
Here, motivation is not just the physical response to increase the resources anymore. Sometimes it's a selling point, and sometimes it's a commodity. But who is consuming? Generally, a product could be sold to the one who lacks it. Then I might be the one. Oh, you too. And you? Oh, so many hands are up. But how? How did a molecule that gravitated the resources around it wiped out the brains where it all started? How did it bite its own tail in everlasting hunger? You found the new resource and picked your food. Its taste is something new. Of course, it's new. That's what it's all about. It just melts you, and your dopamine knocks the door to convey, this is the one we were looking for. Your prediction is right. The same you can anticipate next time through the same effort. This action reinforces your neural connections for that behavior, which facilitates this reward. The next day you are consuming it again, still good. Then next week and next month, it would be habitualized. Nothing special about it. Now your vision fall on another resource, and your calibrated dopamine dictates now. See, that is the one you were looking for. With this essential resource-enhancing mechanism, you are here. In a world of abundance, the rewards you were craving for millionaires are just taps of option here. Modern non-aggressive forms of proving social status, stimuli which exceed the dopamine spikes of 100 honeycombs. We like more but enjoy less, we choose more but decide less, more right swipes and double taps, Insta hashtags filled with wanderlust, nature lovers, dream chasers, influencers, lot of motivation, positivity, good vibes, the entire energy is high. But how do the souls on the other side of the screens feel low? Who knows? Maybe the flowing energy belongs to them, because we have given the two unparalleled investments of this century, time and attention. The effect, that whisper is now a roar. On one end, these hyperdopaminergic minds, beneficial innovations, health and lifespan increase through them. True, but these are also the brains behind the life-threatening climate changes, diseases and war. Einstein's, as they focus their attention on distance missions, struggled in personal life. Dopamine. Newton's faced psychotic illness as the territory of creative thinking through unbound non-conventional thoughts were not too far from it. Even if so many negative outcomes like divorces, gender inequality, agentic relationship, excessive consumerism, these hyper-motivated behaviors won't be completely erased, as this is an intrinsic feature of dopamine. On the other end, these majority minds with average dopamine levels struggling the pace of the fast-forward world, globalization, cultural variations, and socio-economic stratification. They create the market for motivation. I believe and have experienced a good read, watch, and training have the potential to change one's life path. But these kinds of generic motivational contents, rather than shedding light on the desired direction, just sell multicolored torchlights, which gives the illusion that the direction is obvious. They will never allow you to question the unequal opportunities. Instead, it will say that it's your fault and you have to run faster than before. Heroes always win the climax. Personal success will be praised again and again. The moment you get hooked, it will start to consume you. With this clarity or confusion about the role of excessive externally induced motivation, now move to the gym scenario completely. Here the characters we are seeing are actually the reflection of the society. If in all our effort the dopamine and its motivational drive plays a role, what about such an immense effort like going to the gym? How motivated should we be actually? What is normal?
Wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
While we are encouraging the habit of exercising, we are hurting the non-exercisers by labeling them as lazy. They deserve it. But if you think exercising is equally paradoxical to nature as being idle all the day, not convincing? Okay, answer me for this. Have you ever come across any non-human animal woke up at morning for a 30-minute zone 2 cardio target, or taking a mirror selfie in weird angles after full pump session, or while counting calories to shred for wedding photo shoot? No. Because apart from all industrialized human population, life depends on energy flow with tight calculations. As the ratio of the amount of energy spent to yield energy back is way high, no single species out there spends it without necessity. Thus, in the way of reducing physical effort, all the individuals of this biosphere are lazy in some way. Then, in order to know actually how much we should move, we need a reference. Hadza hunter-gatherers, highly documented non-industrialized human population on Earth. Their daily average physical activity includes 4 hours of light chores like taking care of children, removing hunting tools, and 2 hours of moderate activity like searching for food, and 20 minutes vigorous activity like chasing, climbing, and digging. In a typical modern Western man, this includes 5.5 hours light activities, 20 minutes moderate activities, and negligible quantity of intense activities. This gap in our physical activities and the consequential health effects could be somewhat compensated through exercising. But now the question is, if we are lazy here, why so much difference in activities between us and Hadza hunter-gatherers? For compensation, why is it this difficult to exercise after all? Because among the people of Hadza and other animals, a drop in energy storage is a stressor. To avoid that, dopamine and other stress-related hormones make them to move in search of food. To attain that reward or to avoid the pain, they keep moving. But in industrialized human population, mostly we are not dependent on direct physical labor to reap the energy and other resources. Thus, there is a lack of reward for our movement. The physical exertion slipped off from a life necessity to a lifestyle choice. And like I mentioned before, in a world filled with high-value immediate rewards, the beneficial acts like physical activity with average reward value fails to find its place. Without knowing how to handle this, we are struggling with lack of motivation to move. The attempts to make us move are sometimes leads to prescribing exercises like drug, rise of transformers, polished gyms, colorful gym wears, and products, supplements, music, dance, socializing, motivational quotes, songs, ads, etc. But if there is so much issue with motivating people to exercise, if so much issue with motivation itself, why don't we look at this from the perspective of sweat instinct? Are you with me? Shall we? If there is a problem arise in lifestyle, consequently a solution will arise, and around it a market will be established. The individual or the group which provided the most effective solution will become the industrial leader. But the real-time issue here is, when the hyperdopaminergic brains in consumer mode drift towards the symptoms over the actual problem itself. As symptoms appear on the surface of the problems, a hyperdopaminergic brain with the intention of taking over the market sells the solution of the symptoms. As a result, the actual problem will be left unsolved. There will be some sort of long-term plan in all regular gymmers, whatever, regardless of its quality. But these dopamine brains I mentioned, without any stable targets, usually will be in an in and out cycle. They generally got into these traps of short-term physical pursuits. Gaining more muscle, losing more fat, reaping more strength, regardless of any supremacy claims. A possession without its explanation of necessity is not an ideal thing but the pure consumerist behavior. At the fall of these short-duration illusionary rewards, demotivation sets in and the cycle continues. This is a direct consequence of fabricating the symptoms as the actual problem. Nonetheless, the number of people who search and provide the actual solutions around the world is increasing. Yet, the solutions have to be well organized to reach the majorities. Then what is the solution? I won't give. In fact, dopamine gives the solution. When the dopamine pathway reaches the midbrain region, it becomes responsible for our basic motivational drive, goal-seeking and impulsive behaviors. Along with that, it induces another important behavior, which broke the conventions, bent the lines and rendered the curves and scribbles. Our creativity. Physical activities being prescribed to prevent health, dictated like a task or punishment to be completed, being scheduled, scaled and boxed. But all our efforts to transform exercising as a daily practice will never be achieved inside our individual boxes. If you think about this, there are some possibilities. Here are a few. Think of incorporating some movement continuum rather than boring mindless repetitions. Dopamine seek for extra personal targets. This includes activities with actual visible distant physical targets like carries, crawls, walking lunges. Keep external motivational factor like music and mirror occasionally. They are actually good distractors. Add secondary rewards to the activities if needed. On occasion, spending time for other tasks after finishing an exercise session itself can be a secondary reward. Merge the pain of avoiding bad reward with the pain of working for good long-term reward. For a simple example, allow yourself to use a phone only after finishing an exercise session. We like climbing a wall, tree, or hiking for a reason. That is the motivating upward biased nature of dopamine. So include a few overlooked climbing activities in your practice. Some activities can be playful and performed as a group task. Another important dopamine characteristic is seeking novelty. This includes changing variation, equipment, and environment. Having a self-image and a grasp about the way you are moving, resolving the possibilities, update the ideas, serve as great motivator. I can't recommend enough outdoor activities. Rather than wasting time by counting calorie numbers on the treadmill, go out, get fresh air and sunlight. Apart from all this is my major proposal towards it. The reason behind seeking some external irrelevant motivation is our narrow benefit-oriented approach of perceiving movement as simple quantifications like strength, muscle mass, or endurance. Every physical movement is tightly packed with its reward. In other words, movement is the reward. We could learn this through observing a curious kid in park, analyzing and rectifying the movement patterns required to complete a move in a monkey bar through its persistent attempts again and again until it gets done. The intrinsic drive in us to move and improvise is enough to move. Why so much when you might have been seeing this video by resting on a couch, being seated or lying down? As the video is going towards eternity, meantime you might have moved, turned here and there, scratched your ear, yawned, or who knows, you might have slept. If I told you to be still without doing all this for the next 2 hours, how will it be? What will you feel? A kind of discomfort? The big scale of this is being idle. We have been made to believe that this is the normal. Physically being rested could never be enjoyed in isolation rather than the reward for the movement. Otherwise, it will be a great discomfort like not scratching ear. So don't seek motivation from out, that is within us, our instinct to move and adapt. When dopamine pathway extends to the lateral frontal region of the brain, it helps us to organize all these long-term pursuits into simple short-term goals. Nonetheless, we try to get rid of boundaries. We are in 24-hour cycle after all, so it's essential to plan the exercise session to fit in schedule with other tasks. Here are few daily practices to make physical training as a habit. Fix a time to train as accommodating other tasks and keeping us refreshed throughout the day. Morning time is best in my opinion. Keeping a workout plan is a huge motivational factor apart from its other role. It gives the clarity of what you are going to do exactly and why it has to be done on the day itself. Keep the duration less if you have a busy schedule so that you can accommodate it well even with a small gap in between other tasks. Always plan with a backup. This could be anything including exercising space, time and equipment. If enough priorities are provided, the possibilities will always be there. After coming over all these mental blocks, now you are in the gym. You really want to push yourself to your limits, achieve the goals, reap the results. What else? You're highly motivated to grind your workout session today, isn't it? Wait, you might be a little tired of chasing targets all the day for your bosses, or you might be a little tired of feeding your goals, dreams all your life for yourself or family or your society norms. What's showcased in front of you as goals or something sedimented over your skin through all this process you went through. Again, some voices are going to tell you, chase the goals, that's the only solution. My question is, are you still going to do the same? Maybe you don't need that. Again, the solution may be within you. Wait, does that mean could we really keep the dopamine in control after all its adaptive nature? And the answer is yes. Some real valuables won't reach the majority easily. One such valuable is the coexisting hormones in our brain along with dopamine, the molecules that make us to appreciate what's in our hand right now and secure it, manipulate the things in our peripersonal space, make us to show empathy, self-care, care about each other, protect nature, make you to prioritize the time with the children over an office meeting, which whispers in your ear that a crude land of shattered grains is much better than the cheese cube hanging overhead, which makes you to do simply nothing and live in this moment. Just give them their way and come again. Now there is no cheese block over your head, no goals to chase. You are not in the process of making any better versions, much liberated. Nothing in between, it's just you and what is around you. Move instinctually. Here your goal won't stop you from feeling how firmly you have grip, how the surface feels, how nervous you are to the new movement. Has your prediction improved? Why does your toe come up every time you squat to the ground, the twist and turns? You would have started to move as a decisive piece of the puzzle. Every move of now will open the possibilities of the future, a future of gratitude, protection and well-being. You would be much closer by now, close enough that there is no more you. You're empty and filled at any given moment, just the path of the flow. As there is no container, nothing is contained. At this point of automation, you would start to realize it is not that difficult. Here dimensions will start to differ, no ups and downs. If you look into that, the actual difficulty won't lie in pushing yourself, but to balance the past experiences, present awareness, and future anticipations. In this riddle, however you climb, you will always be in the middle. There lies our limits, and that gives our freedom.
So, what happened to those monsters?
It's not their nature. It was a trend, like a disease. When that trend changes, everything changes.
How the trend changed?
Imagine now I'm giving you a magic wand, and if you use that daily twice to scratch your skin, assume that you got the maximum value out of it. What should I call you then?
A monster.
You got it. So you're not. Imagine how will it be, instead of reflecting the majorities, if it could fulfill the actual needs of this biosphere. People who got caught in all these rivals later realized the truth, came out and spoke out to other people. They reset the trend.
Other monsters?
Those who commodified this, the predatory nature of the eagles can't be changed. They searched for the prey all over. As none of the prey looked up after that, they kept searching until starved to death.